Anyway.
Why are you over here? How did you? My legs and boots are gone. Yeah, this server. I'm not. You're drowning, Master Troll. What?
Teleport.
I didn't walk. Okay, well, give me an instant of time.
Teleport.
All right.
Oh.
I'm just gonna get rid of my items. Oh my God!
Steal. Slash. Skip off. Master Chief.
You're in. What? You're in adventure mode. Oh my God, this sucks. This actually sucks. This is the worst. All right.
Are we in adventure?
Because I don't. Okay, hold on. All right. I'm not gonna give you up. That's for certain. All right.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna do anything. I'm not that kind of player.
Master Troll definitely is. Anyway, okay. So this. Hold on. I'm gonna start the video. Okay. We're just gonna start. Get over here, Master Troll. Hi. Welcome to my.
No.
What's your problem, dude? What's your problem? Dude, just let me... Hey! Hey! Wait! Huh? What? Oh, hey. Welcome to my... episode 25. Welcome to my episode 25 from the beginning. This looks a little weird. I'm in creative mode. He cheated on his whole... he cheated his... No. I'm on a server right now. It's my my Twitch server. Twitch.tv/super_magic_seal. Oh, I broke it. But this is... Stop it.
Ruin. That means something is gone.
Stop it! The fucking problem is yours. This is why I need to put Master Troll in adventure mode. Troll, follow me.
Fine.
This is where it all started. This one house. Stop. What the fuck? So this is where it all started. This is the first house that I ever built. You ate the cake, Master Troll. That was the first cake I ever made, and I accidentally put it right there, and I'm never gonna delete it because never mind. It doesn't matter. This is the wrong world anyway. So this is the first house I ever built on this thing. Just let me do. Oh God! Stop killing my cats.
Oh,
Stop! Why?
Oh.
You're a criminal.
What's it mean?
Oh, it wasn't me. It was the lag.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that? You remember that? Chat. That was awesome.
Okay.
That's my.
What did I do?
I'm not TPing you. Walk with me, Master Troll. Walk over here. So, shut the. Walk over here. Stop killing my sheep. So this is the first project I. Get out of my chest.
I'm not in them. Look, I'm all the way over here.
But anyway, it was a cool little build. And this was fire spread is off, you idiot. If you come down here, Master Troll! If you come down here, over to here, you're not. You're stationary. You're stationary, Master Troll. You're just not going up.
Who are you?
No, you're not. It's like whenever you lag, you still don't move. What? Okay, you know what? This turned out being funny. If you walk down here, Master Troll. If you walk down here, this is where I made my creeper farm. It sucked. It was trash. It really was slow and bad. Okay, but it was automatic. So that's not right. That's really not right. I don't understand how this is.
Telling me.
What? What is happening? Where are they going?
Not from me.
This is the most chaotic world tour I think I've ever seen.
I got you.
I don't know. Oh, he's got you. Why are you so low health? Master Troll, come over here. We're done. We're done with this area. The stream. I would name a building after you. Stop. It's done. Well, that was certainly a start to the video. Actually gonna start, the actual world tour right here. Kicking things off pretty quickly. We've got the OG house. This is where it all started. Everything in this world has sort of sprung from this little house over here. It was built back when I still had like stone tools. It's not the most creative or interesting looking build, but it was pretty good. I mean, I had a outcropping and like a little window up there, and the interior is a little lackluster. I was at the point where I thought like, oh, I put a dandelion and some furnaces down. Ooh, I'm really starting to get good at interiors. You know, but it still has a little bit of, it has a bit of classic charm to it. Anyway, moving pretty swiftly along to our first, I would say our first real project that we worked on and haven't quite finished. There's one little detail I want to talk about, but we've mostly finished it. It's the ravine project. It was, I think it was part of episode 1 or 2, I want to say. And basically, I'd been watching a lot of Minecraft videos about, like, ravine builds and ravine bases, and I always liked sort of taking that sort of spin on the classic Minecraft terrain. So, you know, I thought it'd be pretty cool. It's definitely not finished, you know, there's just, like, random dirt block and trapdoors that I still need to place in. Plus, when I was making these caves originally, which I'll talk about in a second, I was planning on having 3 caves. This was going to be my mining cave. This was going to be where I made a bunch of, like, farms, which I didn't ever ended up doing. But then I was supposed to have another cave over here, which was supposed to be where I would lead down to, like, an obsidian mine, or, like, where I would get my lava for smelting. But I never really found a use for that stuff. Like, I didn't really ever need obsidian or lava, so it kind of just never ended up happening. But that's pretty much it. It's a cool little area. This little cave, I built it up. Yeah, it was the second half, I think episode 2. And I was pretty happy with it. Of course, I need to come back through here and fix up the lighting. Maybe touch up, give it a little bit of a touch up, you know. But the way I used the grass and sort of, like, inlaid the edges and the little water coming down. There's, like, even, like, a little bit of a crack, so, like, yeah, I don't know. I was happy with it. And then, obviously, you guys know about my creeper farm. This is kind of what powered my TNT needs, especially in the, I think it was episode 11-ish, where, or I don't know, anyway, it was a while ago where I basically just needed a ton of gunpowder for the netherite mining. But yeah, this is what ended up powering all my gunpowder / TNT needs for that, but also for rockets. Speaking of which, I kind of need some rockets for this tour, so I am gonna grab some of this. But moving right along, not a whole lot to see here, just a really loud minecart and some chests. But moving right along, I think we can move over to the smelter. So the smelter, or the smeltery, or whatever I ended up calling it, was sort of the first kind of house that was built out of necessity. And the reason I had this ravine was obviously because I needed to mine for stuff and I wanted it to look pretty. But this was the first house that I built out of a function or a necessity, and you can pretty easily guess what it is. It's a super smelter. So all I have to do is sort of dump my smeltables in here, sort of signified by the cobblestone, and then over here is where the items pop out. And I got my coal storage over here. That's really confusing. I do not know why that's there, but anyway, you know, like, this is where I would store my coal, and this is how you feed it into the machine. But moving on swiftly to the first real house I built for our town project, obviously other than my, you know, actual starter house, it's this chapel. Now, this chapel I had planned and come up with the design and researched all by myself. I looked up a lot of different sort of Gothic architecture, which is pretty obvious. I mean, that's what the sort of classic church look is sort of derived from, but I looked up a lot of architecture, like, in real life, and that's sort of where this squarish spire idea came from, and, like, the wooden roof with the different stone sort of fill ends with the stone that pokes up a block, and then obviously you got some stained glass. The interior is it's a little bland, you know, not a whole lot going on. Just a few beams up here. I had an idea to use, like, slabs in item frames. It's like a little lantern hanger, or like something hanging onto the lantern. It doesn't really work. But you know, you got some pews. You got like some books in the back, some Bibles. Yeah, this cat has a little bit of history behind him. I think you're the first cat that I ever tamed, I think. And it was named after, a little shout out to Brad, the class, one of my absolute Chad subscribers. He suggested the name Chad when I asked in, like, the second episode for what I should name the cat, so the cat's name is Chad. That's kind of it. I'm surprised it hasn't died yet to, like, anything. Creepers, lightning. I've had cats get struck by lightning, so anything can really happen. But the reason I built this church was for an enchanting setup. I have moved it since, obviously, it's not here. I moved it over to my Enderman farm, which I'll show you in a good bit. But obviously, here's my totem storage. This is where I would have had my enchanting table, and then here's where I eventually plan on storing all my different lapis and lapis-related items. But yeah, not a whole lot to see there in that basement. Obviously, I plan on revamping this stuff. Like, this part of the interior is just bad. So is this, so is this, so is that. Get out of here. And so is the basement. It's just pretty unfinished. So I'm gonna have to work my way back through there. But moving right along, I'm gonna start working through all these different various townhouses. This was the first townhouse I built. And you can really tell I was taking some creative liberties. This house is by far the worst house I think I've built from the beginning series. The exterior is okay. There's just this random button here. I don't know why this is here. The main idea for this house was to have like a little outdoor area where they're actually doing the work of like, because this is a toolsmith's house, so like they're on the anvil and then they just in the water. But the interior, I don't know what I was thinking. I was probably just being really lazy, but like I just didn't do an interior really. Like I really seriously just didn't do an interior at all. Like there used to be a door here. I just left it. I mean, it's really it's tragic, but I'll definitely come back and just like demolish this place and build it up eventually. But moving along, stark contrast to that interior, I built one of my, I wouldn't say best, but for when I built it, for the time I built it, it was a pretty good interior. This is my librarian's house. It's housing my mending villager. And I was really happy. I think the use of the different colors with the bookshelves, the flowers, and the different wood types like dark oak and oak, it's a really nice interior. I'm happy with it. The rest of the house is a little boring, lackluster. I mean, this is just where I store my books and enchanted books. But, you know, just a little snapshot into sort of my growing ability in terms of... Oof, not the hiccups, but in terms of... I just got the hiccups right as I start recording this. That's really convenient. I'll power through, don't worry. In terms of the outside exterior design, not a whole lot going on. I tried a new idea / design with this roof because I was struggling with creating difference almost. I felt like I had too many of the same roofs. Like I was building this roof. I built these 2 farmhouses recently, and so I kind of wanted to make something different. And I think it works out pretty well. It's a little weird. It's a little interesting, but I basically just normally. As you can see with this kind of roof style, I go stair, stair, block, stair, stair, block, stair, stair, block. But here, I went stair, block, stair, stair, block, like horizontally. And I think it works out. It's not that bad. And then, obviously, this section is a classic roof, just to sort of change things up a little bit. Now, over here, my cartographer's house. Oh, actually, I just remembered. You'll notice these signs are here. Kind of wondering why. These are different various Twitch followers that followed me when I was streaming the single-player world. And I plan on getting back to streaming the single-player world, but these are just some shout-outs to real OG fans of the Twitch stream. You got Ginger Ninja 25's library, Adonis's unfortunate-looking toolsmithy, and then, obviously, 100G123's cartography. I thought it was pretty clever doing like the staircase on the outside. I probably need to add in a support here at some point, but also I liked using the fences right here to create a sort of open design that wasn't necessarily a window, but more just of an opening. Coming up here first, we got a pretty small little room here, and here's a map of a pretty not up to date from the beginning world, and I have a reason why. Not because I'm lazy, but because I wanted to. As I work through the world, I want to create little snapshots of, like, various stuff that we do. So as we work on a project, I want to take a few map shots, if you will, of just progress we make. So pretty soon, I'm probably going to have a map, or like a new map populated in here that'll just have a lot of the Riverside project stuff going on there. Just to sort of, if I ever want to make, like, a map room or, like, a giant map structure, I have, some maps to show the progress of our base. Then also, another little detail is, the reason I used buried treasure maps here was because I was wanted to make it look like the cartographer was like writing out the maps, because it kind of looks like they're like sketching it out, like it's not totally done. I don't know, I thought it was clever. And then and there used to be a door here. I guess that's just gone. The downstairs interior of this house, not a whole lot to show. I thought it was pretty clever. It's the first interior I use logs, like dark oak logs and spruce logs, as a texture. And you are facing the wrong way. Bedroom, pretty nice bedroom actually. A little lantern, birch sapling, not too shabby. Moving right along here, we've got the second-ish project that I've almost finished. My marketplace project. This is less of a project, and I'm certainly not finished with it because I want to eventually add in like maybe a bench or something, sort of sitting here as like a little area to like sit down and read a book or something. But basically, I was having trouble filling the space. Like I didn't want to just have like one line of houses and then have another line of houses along the other side, because I thought it would look extremely boring. So I wanted to make like sort of collective little area collective here. And I also had this idea for like a little stall that was almost inset into the side of this inn. And I'll show you guys the rest of the inn later. But you know, I needed somewhere to store all my flowers, because I do use a lot of flowers in my interiors. Anyway, moving on to the interior of this inn. The interior. It was just trying to hold some villagers. Interiors are pretty good actually. I was very happy with that one, and the librarian's interior up here. I like the complementing colors of the greens. Trying to figure out where to house certain villagers, because I was going through like a phase where I was trying to get rid of a lot of the infrastructure, like the ugly looking stuff around my base, because it was pretty bad. It's still pretty bad. Hey, baby zombie. It's still pretty bad, but it's definitely better than it used to be. I used to have like a giant netherrack dirt stone dome that was right here that I have since gotten rid of. Of course, it's not that much better with all this netherrack around, but we'll get to that later. Over here, this is my tailor's shop, or yeah, I think it's just a tailor. I'm in San Rose Tailor. I was very happy with the interior. I was working through sort of using like armor stands where you can sort of push a piston, or like make a piston push a block on top of an armor stand, and it looks like the head, just the helmet, like hat's poking out, so it looks like it's sitting on the block. Thought it was pretty cool, so I played around with that a lot, and it added a lot of, I'd say it added a lot of interest to the interior. Plus, I took different amounts of water out of the cauldrons, and I thought that was kind of clever. The exterior, I'm pretty happy with the exterior. If I could walk out, you know what? The exterior I was pretty happy with. I wanted to have this little idea of like that retail store, like a big window that you walk by. You're like, that's why it's called window shopping. You're like, oh, clothing, clothing. But also, I had this idea for using doors and like trap doors, it's like shutters. So it looks like I don't have this. The issue I was having with this interior was it looked really weird and off to have like a giant square window, and I didn't want to make like an angle or like a weird shape, because that would look weird with different edges. So I just decided I would make it look like it was sort of covered up by these different shutters, and I think it works really well. We got a little drying rack out here where they dry their leather, and then some storage in the back. I like to use I use some podzol and coarse dirt to make it look like it was sort of like a more, a working area, and then a little more leather sitting around here. But now we got this baker. I was still working around different ideas with how to incorporate different kind of designs for storefronts or shops, and so with this stall sort of inset into the inn, I was like, oh, I could do, like, actually make it part of the house interior itself. And so in Victor 159's bakery, I decided to just make the storefront part of the kitchen, so you can sort of see back into the kitchen, see the cakes, and whoever's working here can, like, they're baking a cake in the ovens, they take it out of the oven, and then sit down for their customers. That pretty much is that was pretty much our marketplace project. Obviously we have Dark Flame 107's wheat stall and Braden the Pot's salmon stall, but pretty much that was it. Oh, and of course Fred OC's flower stall, but that was pretty much it. Like I said, I'm gonna come back in here and totally fix up this central area, maybe add like a little monument or a fountain, some bushes, trees, greenery, benches, and whatnot, but of course that'll have to come later. But I think I wanna what's next? Oh yeah, I think next is these different houses. So these were actually, I built this house pretty early on. As you can probably tell. It's pretty undetailed, and the interior is also pretty bad. But this was like a little farmhouse. I made a wheat farm, as you can definitely tell. And there wasn't a whole lot of ideas behind this house. I just wanted to really start to drive home the fact that this was definitely not a poor village, but there were some, you know, farmers or lower class people, and then there was also this cow / leather workers house, which actually it was Fatigue EG's farmhouse. I was really experimenting with the different open feeling. I really like the way this interior feels, especially like the beak beams to sort of support the really heavy roof, and you know, because these cows are pretty smelly, I wanted to make it seem like they were trying to aerate the area. This nice little kitchen area I was pretty happy with, using like a ton of different stuff: campfires, barrels, stone slabs, crafting table, a whole lot of different bits. Then moving on to our next real project, we'll say. I don't really know why I built this. I just remember building it at some point. So I was watching a lot of F-Whip videos. He's building with F-Whip, like sort of Minecraft Let's Play series, and he was working on a lot of paths. And so I think that's where the inspiration for this came from. Just creating sort of like an enclosed area. I made sort of play with the light, so that, you know, if there was a light spot where you could see the light poking out the side here, I made sure to like plant a bunch of trees to just like make sure that no light got through, so it feels like a really enclosed area, even though I haven't done it on this side. But also using a lot of lilacs and flowers, and just adding in the tiniest little details, like this little log that's fallen over. It's got some mushrooms growing on it, and as we come up here, I made like a little path up here to a campsite. Once again, I don't remember why I built this, but I did, and I think to this day, it's still, you know, it holds fast. It's not that bad. A little campfire, some wood storage. I think the main reason I built this, or the main idea I had, was this sort of like idea of having this wall with a ton of different wood types, so it looks sort of like ramshackle, like it was kind of thrown together. And I think it turns out really well. And then you got a little watchtower, some campfires, a little shelter area. But not a whole lot here. The main reason I'm focusing on this right now, you can ignore all the creeper holes, but main reason I'm focusing on this right now is because this sort of led into this next project. So in order to get that like this sort of forest feel, I had to remove a giant forest that was previously here. I wanted to terraform it so it was nice and flat. And I ran over here into a conundrum because there was it was very high up, and there was a cliff, and Minecraft cliffs don't look great. So I thought I'd try my hand at making my own cliff, and I think it turned out really well. It still looks pretty nice to this day. I was using walls, a gradient, buttons, texture. Looks really nice. And this is sort of, I did have a bit of experience terraforming with rocks from the Ravine project, but, you know, I'm pretty happy with it. And I immediately decided that, hey, since I just did this really cool, pretty medium-ish sized cliff, I would sort of jump into the deep end with this and basically create a giant version. This took me a lot longer, but I'm still extremely happy with it. I like the sort of cozy, enclosed kind of look it has. Got the trees and stuff and leaves hanging over the edge, and this cliff face. It's really rocky. There's not a whole lot of land you can like walk up to and stand on the edge. Moving on to the river itself, it looks a little chaotic, and I might come back eventually and fix it, but for now this is how it looks. I decided to use like glass panes every once in a while, so it looks like there were bubbles almost like coming out. I used sea pickles, grass, kelp, some different textures like coarse dirt, podzol, some rocks I scattered around. But and it's still a river biome, so stuff like squids and fish will still spawn here. And then of course around here I made some like sort of mudslide / mud deposits. And then over here I got a little nice greenery sort of wild area, as there's a bit more of land for the stuff to sit on. But anyway, I think that's pretty much the river project. If we fly up here, you can see that I definitely have a lot more to work on. I've done like this much, and if we just take a look around here for a second, yeah, there's a lot more river to do. River pretty much surrounds the entire area, but you know, once I finish, I'll be pretty. I'm anticipating being pretty happy with it. Also, I do want to point out the fact that if you fly back up here, I did have to hand plant all these trees. Like, this isn't like a vanilla Minecraft tree generation. I had to, like, remove them and then replant all of them, which was pretty time-consuming. And in hindsight, I wish I had not done it. But, moving on to this next project, which is not to be confused with the river project, the Riverside project. The main idea for this place is just to have a sort of riverside port town, port area, where if there's incoming trade from the river going that way or some other rivers that intersect, they can come along here, drop off their goods, maybe take a break, go to an inn and take a night off. All these netherrack is planned. Sort of, I've laid out where I want to have different houses. Like, there's going to be a town square here. I've laid out a few houses, and I'll probably add a few more later on. This is also the project we've been working on most recently, with these two new additions that have been fully fleshed out, interiors and all. I'm looking forward to the rest of this Riverside project. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, for our town area. Not a whole lot, it seems. I mean, we have done a lot. I do want to point out, like this little town square area, the Riverside project, all that terraforming, the river, the cliff. Done a whole lot, but you know, there's still a whole lot more to do. But now, moving on to a pretty recent addition to the From the Beginning world. I think I should be uploading as of today. Uploading that video today. As of when I'm uploading this video, it'll be yesterday. But the Nether project. This is definitely my largest, most ambitious project, I think. I need to turn my render distance up to really get the full scale of this thing. But basically, in episode, I want to say episode 6 or maybe even episode 4, I came to the Nether because I had another portal. I was like, oh, I'll get ideas for like a wasteland sort of themed Nether project, and it'll look cool. And I'll create these like these little spires, and that'll be it. And then I was like, I decided, what if I make myself spend multiple days just building these cliffs, and then terraforming the top, and terraforming the bottom, and then going through and replacing all of this with dark, different black colored blocks, and then going and replace the top, and then terraforming this whole giant area. So this is definitely going to be a long-winded project. I'm not anticipating on finishing this anytime soon. I mean, my game plan to finish this project is like 3 years. I'm probably not going to finish it for a very long time, but we've gotten a fat chunk finished, and that's all that matters. I think this, honestly, in terms of my own opinion on that whole video that I made, is I never want to do something like that again. That sucked. I really, what I should have done is I should have taken sort of little snapshots. I should have, included some of the progress in the YouTube videos, maybe even made some YouTube videos about it, and I should have streamed it, because I guarantee you that video is not going to pop off that well, and it was such a short video for so much time that I put into it. It's just stupid, but, you know, it's done now, and I'm hoping to stream the rest of us working through this project as time goes on. But like I said, not a whole lot to show for it, just a giant cliff area. Almost hit that Zombify pigment. If you get a look from up here, you can sort of see the scale of the area that we have to fill in. It's actually, when I think about it, it's not that large of an area, so I'm hoping it won't take too astronomically long. But moving on over here, you might wonder why this is sort of wide open. It's because I have my desert portal, or portal to the desert biome over there, and my plan is to make like a gateway or like a passageway or like a little ravine or something, just so I can walk over to there. Same deal with these sort of corners or edges. You might think, oh, why haven't you actually finished? You didn't even finish the walls. No, I really don't know what I'm gonna do with these edges. I might make it like a lip. I honestly have no clue what I'm gonna do. I make like these, might make like these giant basalt pillars. I might make some columns that are like black stone to look like they're holding up something. I have no clue. So that's kind of why I just left these guys off here. You know, I'll come back later eventually and figure out how I'm gonna terraform through that. But like I was talking about the desert, we might as well head over there. I can talk about a few of my other plans. So there's not a whole lot to say about the desert. It's just kind of like this little small area I've flattened out, as well as a mountain that used to be here. But the idea is I want to, once I finish the current town area that we're working on, the current town project, which, mind you, this is gonna take an extremely long time to at least finish our town, let alone move on to another town. But once we finish that town, my plan is to move to a desert town, because I like that sort of build style, and we're learning about that stuff in history class. It's interesting. Anyway, my eventual plan for this place is to obviously have a desert town here, but I want this place to look like a real desert. So, pretty much flatten everything and terraform it so it looks like a real desert. So none of this, none of that OG classic Minecraft terrain generation crap. It's gotta look good and realistic. But that's pretty much it for the desert project. Not a whole lot going on here. Obviously, I just have my sugarcane farm. That seems to be working about to be just about it from the beginning. I'm gonna head back. Just wanted to sort of, this video was more of a, well, I've always looked forward to doing a world tour. Well, it was like cool seeing other people do a world tour, so I wanted to do one for myself. Plus, you know, for people that haven't watched the whole series, that haven't watched all the episodes, I want to make like a little point to which where they can like catch up, and they don't have to watch every single video that I make. So, you know, but without any further ado, I think that's about it. I want to give a few updates on different content in the future. So, obviously, I want to take a quick break from the beginning for a little bit in terms of videos, because I'm pretty bored. Doing a lot of the river project and doing this video, the nether project. I'm kind of bored. So I want to work on editing. I have a ton of recordings saved of like 2 different Terraria Let's Plays with a bunch of hilarious friends I have. You know, some of the people like Bricket and Dark Flame and Master Troll and people from a server I play on, doing a ton of stupid stuff like 100 by 100 worlds, and we did like a 1.8, like a really old Minecraft playthrough that was funny and stuff like that. Speaking of which, speaking of the server that I play on, I've kind of been saving this announcement for a little while. I don't know why, but I've been saving this announcement for a little while, and there is a server I play on. It's called Humscraft. You may have heard of it, either from me in my Discord server talking about it, or like some of the other people that I do content with occasionally. But it's just a Minecraft server. It has a bunch of my friends on it, a bunch of hilarious people, and I kind of want to eventually do like a server tour, and then basically start making videos on Humscraft, because it's hilarious. I mean, like, it's just such comedy gold. I gotta tap into that. But anyway, without any further ado, if you like the video, relatively straightforward. If you're new around these parts, hit that big red button at the bottom right hand of your screen. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next episode. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to another year from the beginning.